On the following night, Yang finds himself on the roof, drawn by the mysterious pull of a bright orb. A strong fear emanates from the glowing thing as Yang chases it persistently. But the light darts away, escaping Yang's reach, making him wonder how long it can keep dodging him. Not giving up, Yang holds tightly to the creature's tail, determined to solve the mystery. Suddenly, there is a loud explosion that surprises Yang, and his hand is covered in red. Surprisingly, even though he is hurt, Yang doesn't let go of the strange being, puzzled by its lack of aggression. As he holds it, Yang realizes it is feeding on his blood. The creature then changes its form, disappearing into thin air, leaving a bright mark on Yang's hand. Intrigued by the transformation, Yang wonders if it wants to be with him. To his delight, the small creature confirms this with 2 squeaks. Deciding to name his new friend, Yang calls it the Little Milky Ball and decides to take it home. The next morning, Yang gets ready for his first day at work. Waking up the Little Milky Ball, he prepares himself, thinking about the mission to find his elusive Misty. Outside the Chu mansion, he is directed to Yi Xuanlin's room. Thinking in front of the slightly open door, Yang considers the possibility that only a playful prankster could have set up a bucket above the entrance. Dashing through the entrance with lightning speed, Yang skillfully avoids the looming bucket poised above him. Quickly making his way inside, he surprises Yi Xuanlin with his agility. She, however, keeps up a facade of nonchalance in response to his question, replying with a short mind-your-own-business. Undeterred, she leads Yang to his assigned room, conveniently on the same floor as hers but at opposite ends, Yang in the far east and Yi Xuanlin in the far west. As Yi Xuanlin leaves, reiterating her directive to mind his own affairs, she unexpectedly notices the sound coming from the Little Milky Ball. Curious, she tries to find the source of the noise. Yang, quick-witted, dismisses it, saying there was no discernible sound, attributing it to Yi Xuanlin's imagination. Unyielding, she insists that she did hear something. However, Yang, seizing the opportunity, cleverly reminds her of the rule she just established, effectively stopping her inquiries. Puzzled by Yang's smart response, Yi Xuanlin hurries back to her room. Later that night, as Yang meditates in the moonlight, a ghastly face appears at the window. Unfazed, Yang, a vampire, remains unaffected by the intended terror. The face turns out to be a fake horror, another prank orchestrated by Yi Xuanlin to scare him away. Unbothered, Yang decides to reciprocate. Sneaking into her room while she sleeps in her nightclothes, Yang, struck by her beauty and the revealing attire, thinks about the irony of such a stunning devil playing pranks for fun. Placing a frightening face near her bed, Yang, as a vampire with enhanced senses, enjoys the fact that he can now see through things unlike ordinary mortals. As expected, the day opens up with Yi Xuanlin shouting her heart out. Yang sprints to her room and knowingly inquires the reason for shouting out so loud. As soon as she glances Yang, Yi Xuanlin bursts out at him, threatening that they have plenty of time at school and she won't hesitate paying him back either. Yi Xuanlin enters the college, clenching her fists in anger. As soon as she enters the hallway, the boys of the school begin buzzing around her, appreciating her beauty, and one even expresses his love for her. However, he is rebuked by his friend, reminding him of the consequences if Bob Zhou sees it. This, when a menacing character, an apparently stylish boy, followed by his 2 aides, reaches them out, inquiring what they are blabbering. The boy quickly apologizes to Bob Zhou, who is least concerned about him. Bob goes on to assert that he does not care about the boy since it is certain that Yi Xuanlin will only love him. The assertion agonizes Yi Xuanlin, and she instantly rebukes Bob, deeming his claims nonsense, and reminds him not to think too highly of himself. Agonized by his humiliation, Bob further fumes in rage when he finds Yang standing beside her. Unable to burst out at Yi Xuanlin, Bob targets Yang and threateningly inquires how he dared to stand closer to Yi Xuanlin. But Yang does not care about his anger, and he begins striding along with Yi Xuanlin. Bob counts his unfazed behavior as an insult and leaps after him to attack Yang, but a teacher intervenes, she the Chinese teacher Lu Bing. The teacher asks Yi Xuanlin to explain the matter to her. The teacher, curious about Bob's activities, questions him. Bob promptly reassures the teacher that there's nothing to worry about. Teacher Lu Bing then turns to Yi Xuanlin, seeking confirmation that the situation doesn't demand her intervention. With no pressing concerns, Lu allows them to proceed inside. Once she departs, Bob confides in Yang, expressing that if it weren't for Teacher Lu, he would have taught Yang a lesson. As they enter the classroom, Yang, unable to contain his curiosity, queries Yi Xuanlin about the situation between her and Bob. Clenching her teeth in frustration, Yi Xuanlin reflects on how Bob's antics at school are escalating day by day. Continuing with the day's events, Yang introduces himself to the class, receiving a warm welcome from both students and tutors who are captivated by his handsome appearance. Despite Miss Lu Bing diffusing the earlier conflict, Bob remains fixated on settling the score. He dares to challenge the zombie boy to a face-off, fueled by resentment and a desire to reclaim his spotlight and alleged romantic interest. In a fit of rage, Bob accuses Yang of attending the school solely to steal his limelight and the affections of a girl. The tension escalates as Bob issues threats. The students, sensing the mounting confrontation, gather around, creating a circle where Yang warns Bob that he doesn't care who he is, just to keep his ugly face away. Confident in his agility, Bob attempts to attack Yang, but Yang deftly blocks his punches and calls for help from his allies. In a surprising turn, Yang effortlessly dispatches Bob's allies one by one, eventually lifting Bob with a single hand, showcasing an unexpected strength that leaves the onlookers in awe. The confrontation takes an unexpected turn, leaving the classroom in a state of shock and disbelief. After throwing Bob to the floor, Yang issues a challenge, inviting him to seek revenge whenever he pleases. The entire school erupts in applause, appreciating Yang's display of strength and expressing love for the new arrival. Even Yi Xuanlin can't resist applauding, recognizing, and commending Yang for his unimaginable power. Yang, in turn, realizes that his master is undeniably cute. Amid the students' admiration, Yi Xuanlin invites Yang to join her inside the classroom. As Yang leaves towards the classroom, Yi Xuanlin senses an unsettling gaze from a peculiar individual behind her. Yang, impulsively turning, inquires about the observer. In the afternoon, Yang grapples with a severe drawback of his vampire body, the sun. The once enjoyable situation turns into a burning sensation on his exposed skin. Despite the spirit's warning about this issue, Yang contemplates the extensive meditation required to reach a higher vampire level and wonders how long it will take him. Yi Xuanlin invites Yang to join her for a meal, but Yang hesitates to venture out in the sun. He attempts to sidestep the invitation with various pretexts, even suggesting ordering takeaway. However, even a vampire can't outwit a determined girl, and eventually Yang acquiesces, carrying an umbrella to shield himself from the sunlight. Yi Xuanlin playfully speculates that Yang might lack understanding of the girl's psyche, perhaps due to a lack of dating experience. This triggers a painful memory for Yang, harking back to a scar from his past when his beloved girlfriend left him for a wealthy sugar daddy. Under the pleasant sun, exclusive to humans, Yang and Yi Xuanlin leisurely stroll through the streets in search of food. Suddenly, Yang's vampire senses kick in, alerting him to an approaching danger. Reacting swiftly, he pushes Yi Xuanlin aside, shielding her from falling metal pieces adorned with the company's logo. Yang effortlessly bears the weight of the metallic debris on his shoulder, leaving Yi Xuanlin initially stunned by his rapid protective instinct. As she regains her composure, Yi Xuanlin realizes the selfless act was for her safety and hurries forward to ensure her personal aid is unharmed. Yang, investigating the unexpected hazard, insists that the recently installed logos shouldn't have fallen. Unperturbed by his concerns, Yi Xuanlin marvels at his ability to catch the descending pieces mid-air. However, Yang senses that the danger persists and urges her to leave the area immediately. Surprising Yi Xuanlin, Yang discloses that he has no plans to use the car for their journey home that day. When questioned about their transportation, he reveals his intention to carry her back on a bicycle, explaining that he intends to follow the car for undisclosed reasons. Later in the evening, as Yang pedals with Yi Xuanlin on the bicycle, the car intended to transport her home meets with an accident, resulting in the immediate demise of the occupants. Stunned by the turn of events, Yang realizes the gravity of the situation and resolves to carry her to safety on the bicycle. Pledging to protect her from the looming danger, they navigate the streets, their cycle weaving through the evening shadows. The attempted murder prompts an urgent meeting at Miss Chu's residence, where Yang recounts the entire incident. Miss Chu, seeking clarification, questions if Yang implies that the building signs were intentionally dropped, followed by the orchestrated road accident. Yang reiterates a question he had previously posed to Miss Chu, expressing concern about whether she has provoked someone to the extent that they are now attempting to take her life. He acknowledges Yi Xuanlin's playful nature, but believes it doesn't justify such extreme actions. In response, Miss Chu reveals that she has numerous enemies in the business world. She cites a previous instance where she won a property against Manhwa Technology, resulting in the company's bankruptcy and the owner's subsequent suicide. Despite encountering this news multiple times, Yang had no inkling that it was orchestrated by Madame Chu. Unfazed, Madame Chu asserts that the journey for women in the business world is never easy, and she aims to shatter the glass ceiling through her resilience. Yang assures her of his commitment to investigating the matter with a focus on Manhwa Technology. Later at a bar, Yang is served a drink by a friendly waitress, who turns out to be Qian Qian, someone from his past. With a warm smile, Qian Qian questions why Yang hasn't visited the place in a while and mentions hearing about his recent job change. Yang denies any such change, but Qian Qian astutely observes the shift in his lifestyle as he orders drinks he couldn't afford before. After finishing his drinks, Yang prepares to leave when he notices Qian Qian being harassed by a group of men, including someone named Tiger and his associates. Reacting swiftly, Yang intervenes, smashing a bottle to protect Qian Quan from the harassment. Tiger seethes with fury at the audacity of a young kid meddling in his affairs. Enraged, he summons his allies, urging them to retaliate against Yang for what he perceives as a blatant insult. However, Yang, undeterred, delivers a powerful blow to Tiger's belly, leaving him incapacitated and spitting blood. Despite the pain, Tiger remains resolute, rallying his men to take more severe measures, now intent on harming Yang. Onlookers remark that Yang might be in serious trouble, cautioning that Tiger is not an easy adversary. Contrary to their expectations, Yang displays remarkable prowess, effortlessly thwarting every attempt to attack him. The once menacing Tiger, now faced with the unexpected, pleads for mercy. However, Yang harbors no leniency for bullies. With unbridled strength, he smashes Tiger to the ground, decisively putting an end to the threat. In a stern gesture, Yang seizes Qian Can, asserting that anyone attempting to abuse her will meet the same fate as Tiger. The resolute message echoes through the altercation, making it clear that Yang does not tolerate injustice, especially when it comes to the well-being of those he cares about. As they begin walking, Qian Qian succumbs to the adverse effects of excessive drinking, vomiting and leaning on the wall for support. Concerned, Yang remarks that continual vomiting won't help, suggesting they find a place to rest. Opting for a nearby hotel, Yang arranges a room for Qian Chan and heads out to purchase anti-alcoholic medicines. While Qian Chen peacefully naps on the comfortable quilt in the hotel room, she expresses gratitude to Yang for coming to her aid. Unbeknownst to her, at this point, Yang is still outside on the streets, lighting up a cigarette. Upon entering the room later, he discovers Qian Chen absent. Her voice echoes from the restroom, explaining that she is washing up and will be out soon. As Yang prepares the medicines, the door opens, revealing Qian Chen in revealing attire, her clothes soaked and clinging to her. She approaches Yang, leaning on his shoulder. Panicked by her sudden proximity, Yang urges her to return to the restroom and change into more suitable clothing. Hesitant to get too close, Yang finds himself flustered as Qian Chen leans in further, questioning why he won't look at her, and if she doesn't look pretty. Overwhelmed, Yang stumbles and falls onto the bed, while Qian Qian, now above him, continues to capture his attention with her revealing attire. With a slight exhale, Chen Xin calls out to Yang, expressing a desire for him to hug her. Concerned that she might regret her actions due to intoxication, Yang wonders why Chen Qian is behaving differently that day, pondering if it could be the influence of an aphrodisiac. Annoyed at himself for letting Lai Hu go too easily, Yang swiftly grabs a blanket, firmly holds Qian Qian's hands, and urges her to calm down. He proceeds to roll her with the blanket, emphasizing that he is acting in her best interest. The next morning, Qian Qian awakens to find Yang in front of her. Confused about her surroundings, she soon realizes her state of undress, leading her to believe that Yang may have taken advantage of her. Tearfully, she expresses her disappointment and the betrayal of trust. Yang, attempting to clarify the situation, engages in a lengthy conversation with Qian Qian. After much explanation, Qian Qian begins to understand, thanks Yang, and acknowledges the misunderstanding. As they talk, Yang takes the initiative to inquire about Qian Qian's connection with Lai Hu. She reveals that Lai Hu is part of the dragon gang, occasionally visiting to drink and forcing her to do the same. Yang, sensing a premeditated scheme, expresses his determination to eradicate the gang. Chen Qian, expressing her disappointment and concern about Yang confronting the gang, is reassured by Yang. He asserts that he is not the person he used to be and encourages her not to worry about him. The exchange solidifies their growing bond in the face of challenges. In a phone call with Yang, Su Wenlin is surprised when he requests to be paid in advance. To her astonishment, Yang asks for half of her annual salary, a substantial 200 grand. Without hesitation, Su Wenlin agrees and soon hands over the money to Yang, who in turn gives it to Chen Qian. Grateful for Yang's assistance, Qian Qian receives the funds with appreciation. As Yang strolls down the Summit City streets, he reflects on the unusual task of sharing a room with a woman, letting out a sigh of relief. However, his tranquil moment is interrupted when he comes across a building belonging to the Dragon Head gang. Yang decides to enter, and upon arrival, he notices the stringent security checks in place. A guard scans Yang before he proceeds further. Inside, Yang sets his sights on finding someone to exploit. He is approached by a man and a woman inviting him to play with them. Swift to agree, Yang asks them to teach him the game since he's unfamiliar with it. After a round of play, Yang generously hands them 500 coins to buy snacks. Suddenly, chaos ensues as people are ordered to leave the premises. The reason becomes apparent as Black Dragon makes an entrance. Yang observes the situation and realizes that spotting Dragon doesn't require much effort. Amid the commotion, an enraged man accuses Black Dragon of causing his bankruptcy. The man's son rushes to protect his father, but a guard prepares to harm the child. Yang intervenes just in time, catching the guard's punch and stepping in to prevent further violence. When the guard demands to know Yang's identity, Yang remains silent. In response, Yang kicks the guard, knocking out his teeth and causing blood to flow from the guard's mouth. Simultaneously, another guard attempts a sneak attack from behind with a mashie. The father notices and warns Yang, who, with extraordinary reflexes, dodges the attack and retaliates by delivering a swift kick to the attacker's abdomen, causing blood to spew. Despite knives being thrown at him, Yang skillfully catches them without flinching. Black Dragon seizes the opportunity to flee the scene. With a fierce expression, Yang warns the remaining guards to convey to Black Dragon that any harm to Qian Qin will result in dire consequences. Some guards drop their weapons, expressing relief that they were spared. Amid the aftermath, the father, still emotional, expresses gratitude to Yang for intervening. Yang inquires about their pursuit of Black Dragon, and the father reveals a tragic tale of his wife Barin wanting to cure their son's illness, leading to her suicide when they couldn't repay the debt. Begging for revenge, the father believes Yang has the strength to stand up to Black Dragon. Yang readily agrees, promising to help them seek vengeance. They part ways, and Yang receives a call from Xuanlin, who complains about her mother inviting Yang to be Xuanlin's bodyguard and not letting him do as he pleases. Annoyed, Yang chooses not to respond. After leaving the scene with Black Dragon and the guards, Yang encounters the homeless man he had helped earlier. Yang generously gives him some money for food and invites him to return if he ever runs out. Yang then proceeds to Xuanlin's mansion. When questioned by Xuanlin about his whereabouts, Yang evades the question, stating he came immediately upon her call. In frustration, Xuanlin drags him inside, closing the door behind them, demanding an explanation. Later that night, Yang stands by the window, stretching when he is visited by the little milky white ball. Yang offers it some wine, but with a condition: answer his question first. Yang asks if he can use the milky ball's energy since it can enter his body. Confirming Yang's suspicion, the milky ball agrees and Yang decides to give it a try. After letting the milky ball drink some wine, Yang instructs it to begin the process. The milky ball jumps into Yang's hand and Yang attempts to test the moonlight beam power. Raising his hand and pointing it out of the window, a swift beam emerges, striking a tree in front of the apartment and causing half of the tree log to be severed. Impressed, Yang finds this newfound power to be quite cool. The next day, as Xuanlin and Yang prepare to leave for school, Xuanlin notices the broken tree and questions Yang about what happened to it. Yang, eager to avoid the topic, quickly grabs Xuanlin by the shoulder, urging her to stop musing about it as they're running late for school. As they hurry along, they encounter a girl who questions their presence and sarcastically asks if they have nothing better to do than play games. In a playful retaliation, Xuanlin addresses the girl as auntie, stating that they are there to attend classes. This seems to annoy the girl, who mutters in frustration about being referred to as auntie. She then informs Yang that she will be a teacher at Nanchang University, hinting that he will be fortunate to see her around. Xuanlin, unable to contain her anger, attempts to approach the girl only to be pulled away by Yang, who is keen on avoiding any unnecessary confrontation and ensuring they make it to school on time. Furthermore, Xuanlin seems annoyed at Yang for pulling her away and moreover mentions that she is curious as to what Yang feels about the girl. Meanwhile, a man is confessing his love to Luck Bing, who rejects him while mentioning that she is not thinking about that sort of matters. The man, unable to fathom the rejection, starts forcing himself on Luck Bing, and fortunately, Yang arrives just in time and beats the shit out of the man. As the beating gets done, the man sits around in a corner injured, and meanwhile, Luck Bing approaches and makes sure to Yang that he is alright, and Yang advises Luck Bing to not even bother talking to scums next time. In an unexpected turn of events, Yang receives the news that Xuanlin has been kidnapped, leaving him in disbelief. At Tangning Street number 123, Yang arrives to rescue Xuanlin. Upon entering a chess room where she is being held captive, Yang opens the door only to be attacked with a baseball bat. However, much to the assailant's surprise, the bat breaks into two upon impact and Yang remains unfazed, standing as if nothing happened. The attacker is left astonished. Undeterred, another man charges at Yang with a mashie, believing that since Yang is alone, they can overpower him. However, when the man swings the mashie, Yang, with the tip of his finger, skillfully deviates the attack and demands to know Xuanlin's whereabouts in a stern voice. Frightened, the man pulls out a gun, warning Yang not to be arrogant. Unfazed, Yang challenges the man to give it a try, and when the gun is fired, the bullet strikes Yang but fails to penetrate, falling harmlessly to the ground. Yang scoffs at the use of guns, deeming them weapons for losers. Suddenly, the man collapses in pain, and Yang once again demands information about Xuanlin's location. He proceeds to a room where Xuanlin is tied to a chair. Upon seeing Yang, Xuanlin bursts into tears, relieved to be rescued. As Xuanlin finds herself encircled by three men demanding Yang release their comrades or face imminent gunshots, their companion discloses Yang's supposed bullet immunity. Despite this revelation, the men scoff and prepare to proceed with their threat. Yang, displaying exceptional speed and skill, incapacitates each of them swiftly. Despite one of the men pleading for mercy, Yang remains resolute, reminding him of the intended gunfire and proceeding to dislocate the man's entire hand. Turning his attention to the remaining two assailants, Yang sarcastically questions if they are also feeling itchy, alluding to their inclination for violence. The men vehemently deny harboring any such intentions. Yang then presses the leader about who ordered the kidnapping of Xuanlin. The leader identifies Zhu Liren as the mastermind, revealing him to be Zhu Bo's father. Yang expresses skepticism, reasoning that if Zhao intended to teach him a lesson, it could have been done at school without involving Xuanlin. However, the kidnappers remain clueless about the specific motives behind Zhao's actions. Seeking further information, Yang inquires about the gang affiliation of the kidnappers, discovering that they belong to the Dragon's Head gang. Following this revelation, Yang liberates Xuanlin from her captivity, skillfully untying her from the chair. In gratitude, Xuanlin immediately embraces Yang. Later, as Xuanlin questions Yang about his alleged bullet immunity, he clarifies that the bullets were, in fact, fake. Despite maintaining a calm exterior, Yang admits that in the face of real bullets, any human would experience fear. At Changnan City Orthopedic Hospital, Yang seeks directions from the receptionist to locate Bob Zhu's room, discovering it to be on the 5th floor in room number 13. Swiftly navigating to the specified location, Yang activates his perspective eye, granting him insight into the room's contents. In this vision, Liren urges his son, Bob, to prioritize self-care and let go of other concerns. Bob reassures his father of his well-being, prompting Liren to express his intense anger towards Yang, wishing for his demise due to the perceived bullying of his son. Bob inquires about the lack of news, and Liren assures him that Yang won't return until after rescuing Xuanlin. Liren casually remarks that once Xuanlin is back, Bob can do as he pleases with her, causing Bob to express concern about potential police involvement. Unfazed, Liren dismisses these worries, confident in his network of subordinates. Bob, revealing his sinister intentions of making Xuanlin beg for mercy while crying, receives approval from Liren, who expresses pride in his son's ruthlessness. Yang, making a sudden entrance, startles both Liren and Bob. Bob questions Yang about his well-being and informs him of Xuanlin's kidnapping. Yang calmly asserts that he is aware and heard their entire conversation. When Liren questions why Yang didn't rescue Xuanlin, Yang reveals that he already did. The conversation takes a turn as Liren attempts to attack Yang, only to be effortlessly knocked out. Bob then attacks Yang with a baton, but Yang turns the tables by striking Bob with his own weapon. Fueled by fury, Yang delivers a harsh slap to Bob for his disrespectful comments about Xuanlin. Liren continues to plead for Yang to spare his son, but Yang remains resolute, relentlessly hitting Bob. Yang rebukes Liren, urging him to extend the same concern for other people's daughters as he does for his own son. Unfazed by the threat, Liren warns Yang that if he doesn't kill him that day, repercussions will follow for Yang and his family. Yang's fury intensifies, leading him to deliver a powerful punch to Bob's ribs, eliciting cries of pain. In a desperate attempt to intervene, Liren grabs a gallon from the water dispenser and hurls it at Yang, accompanied by verbal abuse. Undeterred, Yang glares at Liren with escalating anger. A knock at the door interrupts the altercation as people from outside demand entry. Liren, calling for help, tries to enlist assistance. Seizing the opportunity, Yang seizes Liren by the shoulder and hurls him against a wall. Bob, in pain, pleads with the outsiders not to enter. Defeated, Liren pleads for mercy, admitting fault for the situation. Yang retorts that Liren should have considered the consequences before initiating the plan. Without relenting, Yang tramples on Bob's leg, causing him to scream in agony. As the father and son lie defeated on the ground, Yang exits the room. A nurse discreetly observes Yang's departure, and after a mutual stare, Yang leaves the hospital room, leaving the father and son due in their defeated state. Yang makes his way back to Xuanlin, who upon seeing Yang asks him if he went to see his ex-girlfriend again. However, Yang mentions that she cheated on him, and there's no way he will go meet her. Yang furthermore mentions to Xuanlin that although he is her bodyguard, but he still needs some personal space, and Xuanlin can't help but agree with it. Yang then makes his way to Mrs. Chu, who thanks him for protecting Xuanlin. Mrs. Chu further mentions that Liren has a little status, but nothing in front of her. She then inquires to Yang about the investigation on Jinghua Company, upon which Yang mentions that he doesn't think that the accident of the experimental building was made by them. Mrs. Chu then asks Yang if he can swim, as she has planned to go for swimming with Yang beside her for protection. Over at the swimming pool, Mrs. Chu asks for Yang to get in the pool, and Yang is quick to obey her as he jumps into the pool. As he's swimming under the pool, Yang accidentally bumps into Xuan Lin's breasts. Not knowing what to do, Yang keeps staring at Xuan Lin's breasts, who then calls him out for staring. Mrs. Chu then mentioned that it is okay and asks for them to keep swimming. Xuan Lin then inquires to Yang as to why he didn't call her to swim with him, and moreover mentions to him that he always keeps peeping at her mom, Mrs. Chu. However, Yang immediately rejects this allegation when suddenly Xuan Lin starts teasing Yang and asks him if her mom is hot and sexy. Meanwhile, Yang is thoughtful as he believes that both the mother and the daughter are the same. Yang is walking down the street when he encounters Lok Bing talking on the phone, desperately pleading with someone to leave her father alone. Concerned, Yang observes the situation as Lok Bing steps onto a bridge and jumps into the river. Reacting quickly, Yang rushes to rescue her, pulling her out of the water. Finding her unresponsive, he performs chest compressions and then administers mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, successfully reviving her. As Lok Bing regains consciousness, she realizes that Yang saved her and expresses her gratitude by hugging him. Yang reassures her, advising against contemplating suicide and emphasizing that no problem is insurmountable. Once they both relax, Lok Bing notices her exposed top and quickly buttons her shirt. Yang gently inquires about the reason for her drastic action, and Lok Bing reveals that her father's involvement in gambling has led to financial ruin, and he's now kidnapped by those he owes money to. The kidnappers demand that Lok Bing sells her body to repay the debt, leaving her in a desperate situation. She explains that involving the police is not an option due to the Dragon's head gang's influence in law enforcement and government. Yang realizes the gang's involvement once again in a troubling situation. Yang earnestly implores Lok Bing to entrust him with the task at hand. Despite her reservations due to Yang still being a student, he urges her to have faith in him and discloses his intent to find out the whereabouts of her father. Lok Bing reveals that they directed her to the bath center, leading Yang to strategize his approach. In a bid to reassure Lok Bing, Yang advises her to head home and take a moment to relax. As he begins to depart, Lok Bing raises her voice, passionately insisting that he return alive. Yang, displaying a calm demeanor, assures her not to worry and to anticipate positive news. With a promise made, Yang heads towards the bath center, determined to unravel the mystery. Upon reaching the bath center, Yang encounters a group of women who playfully suggest he join them for a bath, citing his apparent perspiration. Inquiring about Long's whereabouts, Yang learns that Master Long is not present. Surprised by this revelation, Yang attempts to excuse himself, but the ladies have other plans. They entice him to indulge in some amusement before departing. Faced with an unexpected predicament, Yang cleverly selects 3 of the ladies and invites them to accompany him. Upon entering a room, Yang feigns an excuse and hastily leaves when he overhears a disturbing conversation about selling someone's body. Realizing that Lok Bing's father is the victim, he activates his X-ray vision. Shockingly, Yang discovers Lok Bing's father bound and helpless. A sinister proposal is made by one of the captors, suggesting that they allow him to have Lok Bing for a night in exchange for a reduction in the demanded ransom. Yang, fueled by a surge of determination, forcefully kicks open the door, ready to confront the kidnappers and rescue Lok Bing's father from this perilous situation.